right, guys, welcome back to Downtown Rams. As always, I'm your co-host, Alexis Kraft. I'm joined here with my co-host, Jake Ellenbogen, and we are back with our NFL draft prospect interviews. And right now with us, we have George Moore, an offensive lineman from the University of Oregon. How are you doing, George?
Doing good. I appreciate you guys having me here for the show. Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Well, we're really excited to talk to you. And to start this off, we want to get a little bit of a background on how you got into the game of football.
hmm well, I started playing, honestly, I think my junior year of high school. Um, I was like a late bloomer in a way. I really wasn't, I always was like a bigger kid, a little bit taller, a little bit, heavier than a lot of kids. So going into really my junior year, going into my senior year, I just thought about giving it a shot, and I just went out there and, I wasn't, the biggest, strongest, fastest or whatever, but I felt like, this is a sport that I fell in love with pretty quick. And I felt like that it could, just not change my life, but, help benefit me. My goal was to, being able to go to school for free, being able to get a degree. I was the first one to, get a degree in my family, even from my parents, my siblings and all that stuff. So, that was one of my biggest goals. And this game ended up blessing me with more, giving me an opportunity to, play at the highest level. So, yeah, I mean, I don't have like a crazy story like a lot of people playing since Pop Warner and all that stuff. So started late in high school, ended up playing at a junior college, and then just moving on up to Oregon, and then we're here.
Yeah, we are here. And I just want to ask you, what was your favorite player, if there is anyone that stands out to you growing up?
Well, going into my junior college years, I watched a lot of Tyron Smith, left tackle for the Cowboys. Whitworth was the guy, he was another guy that I looked up to. Just those big athletic offensive linemen were the people I was always looking up to, the guys that played the game the right way, being physical and nasty and all that stuff. So a lot of those guys was, the people I was looking up to and still look up to today.
Yeah, for sure. And we're very familiar with Whitworth being Rams fans. But, coming out of junior college, you decided to play at the University of Oregon. What was it about Oregon that made you decide to play there?
Well, I mean, I don't, I don't really brag about myself, but I was like a, highly recruited junior college player. But, I just had a great coach that was helping guide me. My junior college coach, Coach Tim Tellick. He was a great mentor to me. And he had a great relationship with Coach Cristobal, who was, the offensive line coach at Alabama. And at the time, Coach Cristobal was developing a lot of guys, sending them to the next level, helping them develop as men. So I felt like that was just the best opportunity for me. Coach Cristobal, it was his first year at Oregon, also was going to be my first. So I felt like that was just a great start to get in the system with a coach that has a fresh start, not a room full of guys that he'd been with for a couple of years and things like that. So I felt like me and my family, my mom, we trusted Coach Cristobal a lot. The system and the plan that he had for me at the time. So that's how I ended up there.
Now, with Oregon, I like asking prospects this because, you played for this school, you represented this school, now you're going to represent them as far as you go, to the next level. For incoming recruits, what would you pitch to them to come and play for Oregon like you?
Like what would I like as a recruiter?
Like if no, just as like you, like, so you have a kid that's coming out of high school. Why should they go and play and follow your footsteps and play, at Oregon?
I mean, anybody could say Oregon and they, you think about the fancy uniforms, you think about all the stuff that they get. But I mean, honestly, it's just a good tradition there. As a football player, as a regular student, honestly, I feel like just going to school there has so many opportunities. Even outside of football, you meet so many people from all around the world. Me being from the West Coast, from the Bay Area, it's not far away from home. You go out and you see new things. It's a better sight. It's just great in the fall time. Not so great in the winter. It rains a lot, but yeah, but in the springtime, it's even amazing. It's stuff that you would never see being a kid from the inner city. So, as a 6 or 18-year-old or 17-year-old going into like their freshman year of college, you want to experience stuff like that. You want to experience new things. You want to be able to, get outside your comfort zone and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, well, I've definitely heard great things about Oregon. I've never had the pleasure of going, but you're right. I mean, it just seems like you mentioned the uniforms, obviously number one, definitely has some perks there. But also they just have, I think historically, they've just always had really good football teams, um, or football players, excuse me, come out of Oregon. So definitely seems like a really, really cool and really fun university to represent and to play for. And playing in Oregon, you played against a lot of really good talent on opposing teams. You guys played against, like I said, a lot of good teams. So this might be kind of a complicated question, but is there any one guy that you went up against in college from an opposing team that stood out to you as being the toughest guy that you had to face?
Uh, I don't want to. Yeah, I really. It's a lot of guys that I played that was very talented. At this level, everybody is talented, fast, strong. Um, yeah, I would think like Cameron Good from Cal Berkeley. He was a very, elusive player. He was strong, fast. He could do a lot of stuff that, I don't want to say other teams or other defense ends or other players couldn't, but he was good at his craft. So I would say him.
Yeah, and your time at college, is there a game that really stands out to you to be your favorite?
Hmm. Of course, me and a lot of my teammates would probably say upsetting Ohio State at Ohio State. Um, Honestly, it's so many games that, just going on I think we probably haven't lost a home game at Oregon since 2018. So, all those home games, was the best feeling. Being able to walk through our tunnel, knowing that you got a W is always a great feeling. So, but of course, I would say Ohio State upsetting them in Columbus. It was a big game, college game day. It was nationally televised. It was like one of the most watched college games in college football, leading up to that game and stuff like that. So that was a great feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine that was pretty cool.
Mm.
Uh, and then just talking about kind of a little bit about your position. And again, there's no right answer, wrong answer, but just in your opinion, what do you think is one of the most important traits for an offensive lineman to have?
I would think like you got to have good feet, got to be able to move your feet lateral. You got to be able to be able to have a lot of knee bend. You got to be very strong in the core. It's a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't look at. Of course, the next level they look at that stuff, but like coming up playing offensive line, people just think, oh, you just got to be big and be able to, move a guy out the way. But it's a lot more to that. Now, training at Exos, it's a bunch of that I train with that's already in the NFL. That was former first round picks, and they walking around with six packs and big chests and big backs. So it's just so much. You couldn't even tell if there was a linebacker or offensive lineman. That's how fit they are. So the game is changing up front, honestly, and the more fit and more athletic you are, the better opportunity and better chance you have to play at that next level.
Absolutely. No, I absolutely agree with you there. Have you pinpointed, one specific strength of yours, to your game? Would you say, like, is there one specific thing that you really feel like you're the best at?
I mean, I honestly, I don't know. It's a lot of stuff that I do well, but I wouldn't say it's like my perfect strength or I'm great at it. It's always room to improve on any part of the game. That's so great about the sport. It doesn't matter about your age or stuff like that. As long as you're out there and you work in technique and all that stuff, of course you're going to get better. You're going to get better at your craft and everything you do. So, um, Yeah, that was pretty much my answer for that.
Yeah, and speaking of improvements and things like that, I always like to ask prospects, is there one specific thing that you've kind of been working on going into the draft? Just something that you've decided to uh just really improve on and really work towards as a personal goal of yours in
Yeah,
regards to the game?
my things coming off. If I could show you, I would, but I have like a big vision board. I wrote down, building endurance, more strength, more core strength, stuff like that, just so I could have more explosion, coming off the line. Because at the next level, these are grown men that's trying to feed their family, and you're trying to, move them from point A to point B against their will, playing our position. So I'm just trying to, work on all the little things, but also the bigger things too. Just going in there every day, just trying to get 1% better at not everything, but like just one thing, and just take it a day at a time.
It's funny, point A from point B against their will made me think back to when I interviewed George Kittle, and he said there's nothing better of a feeling than doing that, in college. But, going into, this question here, talking about the NFL, is there a specific player that you're excited to match up against at the next level?
No, I'm not, honestly. I'm not really looking ahead that far, but of course you just looking at those guys online and watching, I mean, not online, on television, you watching them play on Sunday, and you like, one day you maybe play against Aaron Donald, or, Khalil Mack, and, Von Miller and all those freak of nature guys. So, but I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, at that next level, I mean, everybody's a freak. It's just that 10% that's supernatural, that's like out of this world. But everybody at that level is super athletic, super strong, super fast. So, I'm sure that, it's a lot of guys that's playing on teams that, a lot of people don't talk about, that's, best and great at what they do. So, I mean, any opportunity you get to go out there and play, I'm gonna be excited and blessed for that.
Yeah, you bring up Aaron Donald. That's like our number one number one answer when we talk to offensive linemen is they're like, I just would love to go up against Aaron Donald because iron sharpens iron and you want to be able to take on the best. Although I'm sure it's also very intimidating. A guy like him, we get that answer a lot. But speaking of the Rams, we know it's really early in the process, but we do ask, every prospect that comes on our show, have you spoken to the Rams at all or had any
Yeah,
interaction with them?
yeah, I have. When I went down to the East West Shrine game, I talked to him, for like 15, 20 minutes, and filled out some stuff for them. So I've been in connection with them.
And just kind of adding on to that, how was your experience at the East West Shrine game?
My experience was good. I loved the East West Shrine. That whole week was amazing. Just being out there, going to compete against, some of the nation's best college players, and then also, meeting those scouts and being around the scouts and being around those guys that do everything right. Because everybody, is doing everything right to get them to that point. So that was just amazing. It was fun, being in Vegas. I mean, we didn't do much, but just that whole process of it, I was really blessed and thankful for that. Just to embrace all of that and then go out there and play at the East West Shrine. Also, to represent those kids that the game is really for. It's not, about, I mean, of course, we're all out there trying to interview, but, it's bigger than just going out there and playing football. It's about the kids that's at that the hospital, the Shrine Hospital, and stuff like that. So it was all fun.
Yeah, it certainly seems like an incredible experience for a lot of reasons, that you just mentioned. So glad to hear that was a great time. And to close this out, kind of our last question here is who is George Moore as a player and who is he as a person?
Well, I will always say George Moore as a person first, because we all are football players and stuff, and always people always look at us as athletes. But me as a person, I'm just a big family guy. I believe in faith. I'm big in faith, believing in God and stuff like that. I'm always smiling, always happy. Walk in the room, always smiling, always saying hello. Very proper. I was raised well, and then I would say me as a football player. Just try to go out there and be physical, be nasty. Just flip the whole switch. just playing offensive line. You have to be able to play like that and be nasty and technically sound and everything like that. So, it's just two different people, but living in one body, if you can say.
Yeah, that's definitely, the way to be. You want to be, obviously great off the field and great on it, but in different ways. Obviously, have a little bit more aggression on the field than you
Mhm.
do off it. Now, just like a real quick question, I want to ask you, kind of like, obviously you're very laser focused. We can tell you're very ready for, the preparation of this, and we appreciate you taking the time. But just trying to step out the water a little bit. Do you have a TV show or an album that you would recommend to me, Alexis, or any of our listeners?
Uh, I mean, shoot, I think since I've been here, I've been like, I train a couple times a day, come home. I just recently started the show Euphoria. Uh, I mean, I
We
finished it.
love that show.
We do.
We love
That's
that show.
now like, I've been watching. I was so late to the party, but I ended up watching both seasons in about 4 days, if that. So Euphoria is the way to go. I mean, I don't really listen to music,
Agree.
but yeah.
Yeah, I got Jake into Euphoria like very recently as well. I was like telling him, you have to watch it, you have to watch it. So he too just like finished it all
Yeah, it's
very
crazy.
quickly. Yeah,
Like,
it is a
so
great show.
hope they pick up where they left off, but I don't know. The last
I
episode
know.
kind of threw me off, but it's all right. I think they got something in the works for season 3 in like 3 years, but it's all good.
We'll get it in
Yeah.
2024 from what I
Yeah,
saw.
hopefully,
Yeah,
Yeah, hopefully.
hopefully.
I c-
But I'm waiting on Stranger Things to come back out. That's really my favorite show, honestly.
I love that show too. I don't think Jake watches it. It's
Uh,
not his
I couldn't
thing.
I couldn't get into it. I couldn't. I
and
tried 3
I love it.
episodes.
I love it. That now that's like my. I sit down all day and watch that episode after episode.
That was
Yeah,
me,
I
Game
have
of Thrones.
Oh, I heard Game of Thrones is crazy. I haven't watched that though.
Oh,
oh,
you got to
that's
watch that.
Game of Thrones is good, but Stranger Things, I have like the soundtrack saved in my music library, like the theme song and everything. And it's like if you're driving at night and you turn on like that Stranger Things like intro, like the da-na-na-na,
Yeah,
Jake doesn't know what I'm talking about. It's good. It's fun. It's fun to drive to at night. So I also suggest that to people. But you have two good recommendations, Euphoria and Stranger Things, both amazing shows. Thank you for that because we just like to pick people's brains because we always are looking for recommendations. But thanks again so much to George Moore for coming on the show with us. You can look him up on social media. We will tag him when we upload this video and podcast. So you can all go follow him and his journey. And George, we are going to be rooting for you the entire process. We are really happy that you've talked with the Rams. We'd love for you to end up on the Rams, but no matter where you end up, we're going to be cheering for you and rooting you on, as we do with everyone that comes on the show. So we wish you the best of luck in the rest of your training process in the draft, and let's stay in touch.
Yep. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate this opportunity. You guys have a great night.
Absolutely,
Thank you.
George.
You too.
You too.